Patrick once again. Guys, you ready for your fucking headliner, dude? Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Chad. No, this person is so fucking funny. I've known her for so long. I'm obsessed with her. Give it up for Emma Quinlan.
Thank you all so much for clapping for me. You're very brave for clapping, and I mean that. I know how embarrassing it is to clap next to other people. Especially when you are like thinking about it too much and then it becomes a contest in terms of clapping cadence and in terms of who will stop first. I often think about the ritual of clapping, clearly, and who invented it, and also who invented standing ovations, like who decided there has to be levels to clapping. Like no one wants to be the first asshole to stand up. But then, like, if no one's the first asshole to stand up, like, the people will think you didn't like the show and they'll cry. So everyone's just kind of, like, waiting for the person in front of them to stand. So then you'll just be like, oh, I can't see. I guess it's time to take the leap. So then you stand and then you clap, and then it's over, and then you're, like, doing the weird dance of making sure you have your jacket in playbill without sitting down again. And then you turn to the person you came with and you're like, that was good. And then you, like, stand in line in silence for 10 minutes. Thanks for clapping. So I know what you're thinking. She looks like she double minored in comedy and Irish studies. Thank you. Yes, I did. I look like a child on an old-timey Irish farm who was traumatized by fairies and hasn't spoken since. I promise if I didn't have the microphone, you would not be able to hear me. Yes, I did double minor in comedy and Irish studies. And what did I do with my extremely practical degree? Thank you for asking. The answer is a series of many jobs, almost none of which have had remotely anything to do with comedy or Irish studies. So, one of my jobs this past summer, I was doing the Lord's work, working as a temp. Thank you. It's an honor. Something is when you get paid to live 1,000 lives. So my very first life, my very first temp job, I was told that I would be working as a receptionist at this conference center. It was a place where like companies could rent a room for the day to have a meeting, a conference, if you will. To give you a sense of the vibe of this midtown basement, it was terribly run by identical twins. I had no AC in August. And I was the only temp who would stay, so I worked there for about a month. So on my very first day, I arrive at 8 a.m. sharp. I'm like, so what's the deal? Am I answering phones, getting coffees? Like, what's this job? And Twin A was like, drop and give us 20. You're gonna have to go into this room and just plug in a bunch of extension cords so that the businessmen can plug in their laptops. And I was like, her Jeff, in this room? Twin B was like, no, in that room where the meeting is currently happening. So before I know it, I'm crawling between the legs of various executives, just plugging random shit in unexplained. The intensity of Josh Peck and Oppenheimer. Finally, one of the businessmen is like, "What are you doing? Get out of this room!" And I was like, "I'm so sorry. Please add me on LinkedIn." That was my first day. It was followed, of course, by a month of scandal, drama, and intrigue. Such is the life of a temp. But I eventually had enough of crawling between people's legs and pouring Josh for happy hour, and promising people that we would turn on the AC, and we never would. So I left and died and went to temp heaven, which was a series of many architecture firms. It was great. There was free lunch, windows, and cool toys for me to stare at and think about how I failed the spatial reasoning section of the IQ test. Anyway, a sharp left turn. I recently watched the rom-com that changed the trajectory of cinema, The Proposal. Has anyone seen The Proposal? If you haven't seen The Proposal, The premise is that Sandra Bullock has to marry Ryan Reynolds or else she'll get deported to Canada. So she goes to Alaska. She goes to meet his family in Alaska, and Betty White is also there. My favorite part about the proposal is that it takes place in Alaska, where it's bright outside 24/7, an obvious ploy for the crew to never work overnight, which I respect very deeply. Because otherwise, like, why couldn't Ryan be from Ohio like everyone else? Like, normally screenwriters are like, Ohio, the suburban state. This time they were like, you should be from the one state that's past Canada for no reason. They were really like, we would rather like make Betty White move to Alaska than work past 5 p.m. They were like, we'd rather make her uproot her life for 2+ months. God save the Queen. Would make her live beneath the aurora borealis than work at night. Anyway, thank you for clapping. I'm Emma Baxter.